You're a photon, a tiny bundle of energy, sprinting at a breakneck speed of 299,792,458 meters per second. You've just bounced off a spectacular sunset, slipped through a window, and bam, you're captured by a device no bigger than a coffee cup. You've just been turned into a memory, a pixel, a story. That device? A camera. But what exactly is a camera? And how does it turn the relentless dance of light into a still image we can hold, share, and occasionally accidentally delete? Stick around, because by the end of this ride, you'll not only know the answer, you'll be able to explain it to your pet, provided your pet wears glasses. Welcome to What Is, the channel where we unpack the everyday mysteries that shape our world, one witty bite at a time. I'm here to guide you through the wonder, history, and future of the humble camera. Grab your popcorn or your smartphone, because we're about to dive into the nuts, bolts, and photons that make photography possible. How it works. At its core, a camera is a light trap. Think of it as a private club for photons. They enter through a tiny opening, get sorted, and are forced to leave a lasting impression on a special surface. Let's break the process down, step by playful step. 1. The lens, the camera's eye. The first thing a photon meets is the lens, a curved piece of glass or plastic that bends, refracts, the incoming light. This bending is what focuses the scattered rays into a coherent image. Imagine trying to read a book in a dark room with a flashlight. The lens is that flashlight, but in reverse, gathering scattered light and pointing it inward. Modern lenses are often made of multiple elements, each designed to correct imperfections, like a team of opticians fine-tuning a pair of glasses. Some lenses are prime, meaning they have a fixed focal length. Others are zoom, which lets you play with magnification like a magic wand. 2. Aperture, the camera's pupil. Once the light passes through the lens, it meets the aperture, an adjustable opening that works just like the pupil of your eye. Open it wide, a large aperture, say f1.8, and you let in a flood of light. Great for low-light selfies, but risky if you want everything in focus. Close it down, a small aperture, say f16, and you restrict the light, giving you a deep depth of field where both the foreground and background stay sharp. If the camera were a restaurant, the aperture would be the size of the front door. A wide door lets a crowd rush in, fast shutter, bright image, while a narrow door lets only a trickle, slow shutter, darker image. It's all about balancing the appetite for light with the desired menu of sharpness. 3. Shutter, the camera's eyelid. Now the light is ready to hit the sensor or film, but we can't let it linger forever. We need a precise moment of exposure. That's the job of the shutter, a mechanical or electronic curtain that opens for a fraction of a second, sometimes as fast as 1/8,000th of a second, sometimes as slow as several seconds. A fast shutter freezes a hummingbird's wing in mid-buzz. A slow shutter turns a waterfall into silky silk. The shutter is the camera's eyelid, blinking just long enough to record a story, then closing to say, that's a wrap. 4. Sensor or film, the canvas. Finally, the light lands on our canvas. In the analog world, that canvas is a sheet of film coated with light-sensitive chemicals. When photons strike the silver halide crystals, they create a latent image, essentially a hidden picture waiting to be revealed in a darkroom. In the digital realm, the canvas is a sensor made of millions of tiny photodiodes, each acting like a pixel factory. When a photon hits a photodiode, it frees an electron, which is then measured as an electrical charge. The stronger the light, the higher the charge, which our camera's brain converts into a numeric value. 0 for black, 255 for white, and a rainbow of colors in between. And there you have it. Lens to aperture to shutter to sensor or film. Each component is a character in a tiny play, and when they all sync, a photograph is born. If you're enjoying this light-filled journey, give this video a like. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because there's more visual magic just around the corner. Next in our visual journey, let's look at origins and development. Now that we know how it works, let's travel back in time to see where it all began. Spoiler alert, the first cameras weren't exactly pocket size. Camera obscura, the granddaddy. Long before anyone thought of capturing an image, scholars in ancient China and later in Renaissance Europe played with a phenomenon called the camera obscura, Latin for dark chamber. If you poked a tiny hole in a wall, light from outside would project an inverted image onto the opposite surface. It was like a natural projector, and artists used it as a drawing aid. Imagine trying to sketch a landscape while everything is upside down. Now that's a party trick. The first photographic steps jump to 1826, when French inventor Joseph Nicephore Niepce captured the first permanent photograph, view from the window at Le Gras. His technique, heliography, required an 8-hour exposure, plenty of time for the sun to move across the sky and for the photographer to grow a beard. A few years later, Louis Daguerre refined the process, creating the daguerreotype, a shiny, one-off silver plate that wowed audiences worldwide. Suddenly portraits became affordable, and people began to say cheese, though they had to hold still for minutes, so the smile was more of a grimace. Film rolls onto the scene. In 1888, George Eastman rolled out the first flexible photographic film, trademarked as Kodak. His slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," was a revolutionary nod to simplicity. Suddenly, you didn't need a darkroom in your basement. You could just mail your roll to the factory and get prints back. The world became more snap-happy, and family albums sprouted like mushrooms after rain. The 20th Century Revolution. The mid-1900s gave us the 35mm SLR, single-lens reflex camera, a design that let photographers see exactly what the lens saw through a mirrored viewfinder. This spawned iconic cameras like the Leica, the Canon AE1, and the Nikon F. Suddenly, photojournalism exploded, wars were documented, and the world got a visual diary. Then came the instant camera, popularized by Polaroid in 1948. The magic of watching a picture develop right before your eyes felt like a mini magic show. Kids and adults would wave the photo, blow on it, and pray it wouldn't turn out a murky mess. By the late 20th century, the digital wave crashed onto photography, forever changing how we capture, store, and share moments. Let's unpack the shift from film to bits. From silver halide to silicon. In a film camera, the chemistry is the hero. In a digital camera, silicon takes the stage. The sensor, a CCD, charge-coupled device, or CMOS, complementary metal oxide semiconductor, converts photons into electrons, then into digital data. This means no more waiting for film to be developed, no more darkrooms, and no more "oops, I forgot to load the film" moments. Resolution, the pixel puzzle. When people talk about megapixels, they're really talking about the number of tiny picture elements, pixels, crowded onto the sensor. More megapixels generally mean sharper prints, or the ability to crop without losing detail. But beware the marketing hype. A 100 megapixel phone doesn't automatically outperform a 12 megapixel DSLR if the lens and sensor quality aren't up to par. It's like having a million tiny brushes. If the paint is cheap, the masterpiece will still look like a toddler's doodle. Dynamic range and ISO. The light balancing act, digital sensors introduced adjustable ISO, a measure of the sensor's sensitivity to light. Crank up the ISO, say to 6400, and you can shoot in near darkness, but you'll also introduce noise, those pesky speckles that make your night photos look like static on an old TV. Modern cameras have gotten better at noise reduction, thanks to improved sensor architecture and clever algorithms. Dynamic range, the ability to capture detail in both shadows and highlights, has also widened. High-end DSLRs and mirrorless cameras now offer 14-stop dynamic range, letting you recover details from a sunset that would have been lost on film. Storage and sharing, the instant era. Remember carrying rolls of film and a bulky wallet of prints? Now a tiny SD card can hold thousands of high-resolution images. You can review, delete, and reshoot in seconds. And with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, photos can leap from camera to phone to social media faster than you can say hashtag. The digital differences in a nutshell. No chemical processing, instant feedback, no waiting. Flexibility, shooting in raw, unprocessed data gives you more editing latitude than a scanned negative. Cost per shot, essentially zero after the initial camera purchase, unlike film, which costs money each click. Environmental impact, fewer chemicals, less physical waste, but electronic waste is a growing concern. Future. Now let's peer into the crystal ball. What does the future hold for cameras? Spoiler, they're about to get a lot smarter, smaller, and maybe a little spooky. Computational photography, the software revolution. Modern smartphones already blend multiple shots, HDR, high dynamic range, and portrait mode using algorithms. This computational approach uses software to simulate what used to require bulky lenses. Expect this trend to explode. Imagine a tiny lens that can capture a 3D map of a scene, or a camera that can remove unwanted tourists from your vacation photos with a single tap. AI-enhanced imaging. Artificial intelligence is teaching cameras to understand content. They can recognize faces, track eyes, and even predict the perfect moment to press the shutter, akin to a photographer's intuition, but powered by neural networks. In the near future, your camera might say, "Smile, the lighting is perfect," or "Hold on, a bird's about to fly into frame." Lens-less and photon counting cameras. Traditional lenses could become a thing of the past. Researchers are experimenting with flat lenses that bend light using nanostructures, promising ultra-thin optics. Meanwhile, quantum-entangled cameras could one day capture images with impossibly low light, potentially revolutionizing medical imaging and night vision. Biometric and embedded cameras. From eye tracking in AR headsets to under-display smartphone cameras, the boundaries between camera and device are blurring. Soon, every gadget you own might double as a camera, capturing your world from countless angles. Sustainability and ethics. As the industry pushes forward, there's a growing focus on eco-friendly manufacturing, recyclable materials, and reducing electronic waste. The future isn't just about smarter pictures, it's about taking them responsibly. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of cameras, don't forget to like, comment with your favorite camera memory, and share this video with fellow shutterbugs. Subscribe to What Is for more bite-sized explorations of the tech that shapes our lives. And stay curious, because the next frame is always waiting. Bonus fact. Here's a little nugget you won't find elsewhere. The longest photographic exposure ever achieved was a staggering 8 years and 1 month, captured by photographer Michael Wesley using a custom-made pinhole camera to record the gradual shift of stars across the sky, turning the heavens into a cosmic time lapse. Now that's patience. See you next time.